Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to call the meeting to order. And the first item on the agenda is declaration of interest. Does anyone have any declarations of interest? Anyone? Okay. We do not have any delegations today. And we'll start with our items for direction or discussion. At the moment, we do not have quorum, so we'll move along with the items in the agenda. We're going to move to correspondence first, and we'll move to item number 5B, the CEMC Collaborative. And I will hand this over to Brittany, our Deputy Clerk for the Grey County.
Perfect. Thank you, Chair Schultz. And through you, I'd just like to share that the CRTC, which is the Canadian Radio, Television, and Telecommunications Commission, are making improvements to the National Public Alerting System. This system allows emergency management officials across Canada to warn the public about emergency situations. The alerts and warnings that you get on your phone where there is an emergency, threat of emergency, weather warnings, and amber alerts are part of this alerting system. Public opinion research has shown that this alerting system is not accessible to persons with disabilities. So the Commission is looking for comments that identify barriers for persons with disabilities and what the Commission can do to prevent these barriers. If you have comments to share, you can provide comments individually through the CRTC's engagement platform titled CRTC Conversations, and all submissions will become part of the public record. So I'd just like to share this, and I will send an email out after this meeting to the members to give them the link to that website where they can submit their submissions.
Okay, thank you, Brittany.
Thank you.
So the next item on the agenda is item number 4A, Township of Georgian Bluffs, Kemble and Sarawak Playground Design Concepts. And I will hand this over for discussion to Brittany Drury, Deputy CAO/Director of Corporate Services at the Township of Georgian Bluffs.
Thank you very much. And through you, Chair Schultz. Hello, this is one of my this advisory committee. So nice to see some familiar faces. And for those of you that don't know me, hi. So on today's agenda, you'll see a report as well as 2 draft design plans for 2 upcoming park improvement projects that the township has budgeted for in 2024. You'll also note that the township has been successful in our CSRAF funding application to facilitate both of these 2 projects. So we're very excited to get these 2 things going. As also included in the report, and just as an asterisk before we commence discussions, we have onboarded a landscape design consultant to help us through the planning process that has drafted these designs, both to be compliant with the AODA and Annex H of the Canadian Standard for the Safety of Public Equipment. So with that, I'll go briefly through the both designs briefly, as well as where they're located, just for the committee's information. So the first is located at Sarawak Family Park, which is a small 3-acre parcel that's located along Grey Road 1 that's separated by both the water and the roadway. Over the course of the past 5 or so years, the township has undertaken various accessibility improvements projects at the park. So these proposed playground structure improvements are there to facilitate or further improve upon the overall accessibility of the park and the space. Sarawak Family Park is most definitely our most frequented park in the summer months. So you'll note that the plans that we have drafted there are quite exciting and colorful. And I'm going to use the word exciting a lot because we're really excited to get it going. So the concepts have been attached as the first attachment to the report. And you'll note that it incorporates a rubberized play surface that connects all of the surfaces, including the parking lot and all of the surrounding trail points. We're doing some work to the the parking lot as well to ensure that it's fully connected to the park and the proposed play structure. The second location is a brand new park that's located in Kemble. That's the kind of most northern center of population for the township of Georgian Bluffs. It hasn't had a playground for some time, and we are proposing to move it to a different space than it had been located before. I was not born and raised in Grey County, but I've heard a lot about pumpkin chucking that used to happen at the Kemble site. So we're trying to honor its local tie by relocating an existing playground structure to the community. So you'll see as attached to in the second appendix to the report, we're proposing that the existing structure, the playground structure at Sarawak Family Park that is there currently today, be relocated to the Kemble site. So we're proposing a reuse again to prioritize a bit of environmental sustainability as well and keep the plastics out of the landfills. But with that being said, there are safety requirements that the township will be observing to have that playground relocated. The playground equipment at Sarawak is fully accessible per the standards that I've outlined earlier in the report. And I will flag that the proposed surface will be engineered wood fiber rather than the rubberized surface, strictly because of budget restrictions. But with that, I welcome any and all feedback from the committee to inform final designs. These are by no means final designs. I wanted to ensure that we had feedback of the committee prior to issuing an RFP or moving forward with construction. So through you, Chair Schultz, that's all I have.
Oh, Chair Schultz, you're on mute.
There we go. Not used to using someone else's computer. Sorry about that. Okay. Yeah, so thank you, Brittany, for that presentation. And does any of our members have any questions or comments for Brittany? I can see why you would be excited, Brittany. The designs are wonderful. I took a good look at them, and the equipment is really nice with the concept that you've presented. So good luck with all of that.
Thank you so much. And thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Bye.
Does anyone have any comments or concerns for Brittany? No? Okay. Thank you, Brittany. We appreciate it. Okay, we'll move on to the second item on the agenda. That is item number 4B. And it is the Town of the Blue Mountains, Highway 26 and Gray Road 2 improvements and Georgian Trail realignment. And the staff person is Prithvi Desai, Manager of Capital Projects at the Town of the Blue Mountains, with consultants Alex and Khalid from IGES Group. And I hope I pronounced that properly.
Oh yeah, that's okay. Yeah, it's Alex Plowman here from Aegis, just presenting on behalf of the town, and I guess the Ministry of Transportation as well. Khaled was double booked this afternoon, so unfortunately he couldn't make it. But I can give the presentation and kind of walk through the project here. So I will share my screen. I think I got it figured out how to. We usually use Microsoft Teams, but I think this should work. How's that looking for everybody? Can we see it's looking good. I see some thumbs up. That's great. All right. Well, thanks everybody. As I mentioned earlier, my name is Alex Plowman, presenting this from Aegis Consulting on behalf of the Ministry of Transportation in the town of the Blue Mountains. So this project, we've got a couple intersections under this project, but the one that we'll focus on today is the intersection of Highway 26 and Gray Road 2. So just to give an idea of where we are in the world here, we're about a kilometer east of Thornbury along Highway 26. And then you can see the Georgian Trail kind of running along the north side of Highway 26 within our project limits here. So the scope of this project, we are going to be installing traffic signals at the intersection of Highway 26 and Gray Road 2. We'll also be realigning the Georgian Trail. Currently, the Georgian Trail crosses east of the existing Highway 26 and Gray Road 2 intersection at an unsignalized crossing. And for those of you who have been biking or skiing along that trail, especially if you have young kids or anything like that, you probably know it's not a great location to cross the highway. It's in between two horizontal curves on the highway, so sight lines are a little bit restricted there. So kind of the intent of this project is to bring the Georgian Trail over to the intersection, cross at the signalized intersection where traffic can be stopped and users can safely cross the trail there. Another component of this project is installing a new north leg to the intersection. So that's a road that travels up and connects with the existing Lakeshore Road up there. It's mostly residential up there, a couple small businesses. And then also just installing left turn lanes just to support the traffic operations moving through the new signalized intersection. So just zooming in on the proposed Georgian Trail realignment. As you can see, the existing Georgian Trail currently crossing east of the intersection. That crossing will be decommissioned as part of the scope of work. And then the new trail will travel on the south side of Highway 26 over towards the signalized intersection. It'll cross at the intersection, cross Highway 26, and then cross the proposed north leg at Lakeshore Road. And then from there, it'll tie into the existing Georgian Trail, traveling westerly towards the town of Thornbury. So a couple of the OREGs that we looked at, just kind of keying in on the specific sections here. We did review sections 80.6 to 80.15 for recreational trails, just with respect to the Georgian Trail main line. A couple of the highlights from the act there, we did look at the minimum clear widths, the grading of the trails. So that would be like your maximum cross slopes and your maximum running slopes as stated in the act. And then we did look at the gate opening requirements in the act as well. In terms of the Highway 26 crossing itself, we applied the standards from the exterior paths of travel sections of the act. So that's 80.21 through 80.31. And some of the highlights from there, we're just looking at the rest areas, the curb ramp requirements. So kind of from the sidewalk down to the actual asphalt surface where users will be crossing the roads. And then the pedestrian control signals at each of the crossing locations there. In terms of the configuration of the proposed Georgian Trail, looking at our profile or the running slope, So that's kind of our steepness in the direction of travel. Generally ranges from 0.5 to 2%. Cross slopes are 2%. I believe we have one section that the cross slope is 3%, but generally around 2%. And then there is one section of the trail that gets a little bit steeper. It's not quite 5%. It's like 4.7, 4.8. Just as it's following the proposed Lakeshore North Leg profile. And then 4.5 meter clear widths. So it gives users plenty of room for passing or crossing each other in opposing directions. And then there will be adjustable swing gates. These are the same gates that the town of Blue Mountains uses on all of their other existing trail crossings. So just be matching that same format, and when they're fully closed, like they have a minimum opening of 0.9 meters there. They can be adjusted and opened up for like to get the trail groomers in there for maintaining the trails throughout the winter months. But generally they're at a 0.9 meter opening there. In terms of the crossing there at the Highway 26 intersection itself, there will be paved rest areas installed. So any users that cross Highway 26, waiting for the signals to change to cross to Lakeshore, they will have ample space, like a flat paved area for them to rest on and wait for those signals to change. We'll also be including concrete sidewalk ramps as per OPSD 310.030, and then also including accessible pedestrian signals as per OPSD 2558. The OPSDs, these are the Ontario Provincial Standard Drawings. These are included on majority of ministry projects. It's kind of their standard items that they include at any signalized intersections that we're anticipating or that we have pedestrian infrastructure installed. And then just going through, we've got some tables here just showing the specific sections of the act and the requirements therein that we're meeting with our design here. So looking at first the Jordan Trail main line. So that's the recreational trail sections of the act. There's minimum clear widths of 1 meter in the act. We're meeting that with a 4.5 meter clear width in the proposed design. Similarly with the trail gates, they do give some spacing requirements from 0.85 to 1 meters. We're kind of right in that range with the 0.9 meter gate opening. And then there is maximum cross slopes and running slopes that we are within that tolerance. Generally, we're within 0.5 to 2% for our running slopes and 2% for our cross slopes throughout the proposed trail design. And then for the actual Highway 26 crossing itself, the Ontario standard drawings are they meet the minimum clear widths for the ramp requirements of 1.2 meters. Similarly with the maximum slopes for the ramps being 10% within the act, we're well within that range of 2 to 2.5%. And then there's some various height and spacing requirements for the pedestrian signals, but the standards that the ministry carries do meet all of the requirements in the acts. And we are providing rest areas at the intersection crossings there. So that's everything that I had to present today, and definitely happy to receive any questions or comments to pass on to the design team if there's any additional requirements we should be aware of, and happy to consider including them in our project here.
Okay, thank you, Alex. Any of our members have any questions or comments for Alex? Anyone? Kathy?
Thank you, Chair Schultz. Maybe can you take the slide off, Alex?
Oh,
Please?
yep. Sorry.
Okay, that's
Sorry, but
okay.
I wasn't sure if it was only me that couldn't see anybody. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's
That's
okay.
better.
I just want to say thanks very much for coming to present on this. I think it was really well done. I really like the way that you referenced the legislation, and it looks like everything has been well considered, and I'm grateful for that. I also want to remind everybody that although it's just the voting committee members who are able to vote in a meeting, all of our municipal members are able to join in the conversation. And in fact, anybody else who's joining in the meeting is welcome to share thoughts or questions. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Well put.
Thanks, Kathy. Happy to be here.
And I totally agree with what Kathy has said as well. It was well done, well presented, and I thank you for that, Alex. And I believe that Prathi, you had your hand up.
Yeah, thanks, Catherine. And I just wanted to myself, Prithvi, I'm a manager capital projects at the town of the Blue Mountains here. Just wanted to thank Alex and the team at Aegis and MTO for taking lead on this, and appreciate you guys coming up here and presenting on behalf of the town. That's very appreciable. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Kathy.
You're welcome. Thanks, Prathi. And again, I'll ask if anybody has any comments, just in case we missed anyone. Oh, yes, Scott. Scott, did you have
There we go.
Okay,
thanks.
good.
Thank you very much, Alex. Just a couple questions really to orientate me, and you'd certainly help me out with the one comment. But as I blow up the schematics here, if I could just ask you just for a little more clarity, if I'm going eastbound on Highway 26, I believe I see a straight through, a right turn, and there's a green area. Is that a dedicated left lane? And there's also a similar green area on County Road 2, but I can't make out if it's a dedicated left. And westbound, I think I see a straight through and a right turn. So my first question is if you could just explain that a little more for me. And I've got a little feedback, sorry, but part two is I did have a question about the running slope at 5% and where that was located. But I think you answered that in stating that it's a part of the existing trail as it's already on Lakeshore. So that was the other question. If you could just confirm that it's on the existing portion as I see it on the map and not the new. Thanks.
Yes. So in terms of the kind of green hatched areas, yeah, you are correct. Those are dedicated left turning lanes. I guess to be more specific, those are proposed dedicated left turning lanes. So in the eastbound direction, coming towards the intersection along Highway 26, there will be a new left turning lane traveling north onto the new Lakeshore Road connection that will be installed. And then similarly along Gray Road 2 coming northbound, there will be a new dedicated left turning lane installed if you want to travel west towards Thornbury. And then in the westbound direction on Highway 26, there is already a left turn lane there. So that will just be maintained and resurfaced through this project with new asphalt and pavement markings. I guess before I move on to the second part of the question, does that kind of help with the first question there?
I think it does. I'm just I wanted to be certain what I was looking at when I think of more rural cross sections with lights and people crossing. We're often dealing with higher speeds, so I just want to be certain that the proper protection mechanisms are in place to protect pedestrians against cars speeding into left-hand turns or just those quick turning movements that can happen at higher speeds than maybe in urban centers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there will be the dedicated left turning lanes there, and then there is kind of the standard concrete barrier curb will be installed throughout the intersections, and then we will have kind of those rest areas so that users that are accessing the trail, they will be able to kind of offset themselves further away from the traffic than maybe in an urban scenario. So they're not kind of jammed right up against the live lanes of traffic there. That's kind of another feature of the paved rest areas.
And the second part was just confirming that the running slope of 5% was on an existing portion of the Lakeshore Trail part.
So it is actually part of the proposed trail, and it's a portion of the trail kind of as it travels north along the proposed Lakeshore North Leg. It is matching the alignment of the proposed, or sorry, I guess matching the profile of the proposed North Leg. There is quite a bit of a grade difference between the existing intersection platform and the existing Lakeshore Road that we'd be tying into. So that's where that kind of 5% comes up to. I think it's a small portion. I think it's 30 meters and it varies, but the maximum slope at the steepest point along that 30-meter section is like 4.7 or 4.8%. And the reasoning for that is just because the two platforms are kind of matching each other. So the roadway and the trail there's a barrier curb in between them, but just in terms of constructability, they will have like the same road base on them, so it's going to have similar grading across that section there.
Okay. Anyone else have any comments? No, I don't see. Okay, thank you, Alex and Prathi, for your presentation today. We greatly appreciate it. And good luck with the project.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Okay, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. That is item number 4C. CCR-JAAC-19-25 Municipal Accessibility Legislation, Grey County. And I'm going to hand this over to Kathy. Thank you, Kathy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. Scott, did you have your hand up?
Well, I was just thinking this one doesn't seem to have the commenting, like this had an actual motion for receipt, and I was just thinking that I was going to just make a motion to postpone this report to the next meeting, but then I thought, well, I can't make a motion to postpone anyway. We don't have quorum. So that's why the hand was up and then the hand was down.
Okay. I didn't
So-
see the hand go down, so I apologize for that.
So through you, Chair Schultz, I think while there is a motion, it's it's to accept the report and that it's for information and that it's to share the information with the committee. So I don't think there's any decision making involved here. And if it would be amenable to the committee, to everybody to carry on and just present this, or if it's desired to move it to the next meeting, I'm happy to do that as well.
Yeah, I'm completely fine with that, Kathy, with you going ahead with it today, as long as everyone else feels the same way. Is there anyone that would object to this? Any members that would object to Kathy proceeding with this item? I don't see. So I
Okay.
would proceed, Kathy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chair Schultz. Can everybody see the presentation? Okay, super. And with your blessing and permission, Chair Schultz, because this is a fairly meaty presentation, and because I know that if somebody has a question or a thought, it's an important question or thought. So instead of waiting to the end and perhaps losing that train of thought, please feel free to interrupt me and ask a question along the way or provide a comment along the way if you so desire. So there's many areas of legislation affecting locally, provincially, and federally. It's difficult to be aware of all the obligations. And there's compliance regulations for small businesses, large businesses, public sector organizations, and municipalities fall under the public sector organizations. And every other person or organization that provides goods or services to the public. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that we all have responsibilities for, and it's pretty challenging to tease out what it is that is required from a municipal perspective, where I know oftentimes we get asked questions that fall outside of our jurisdiction, and those are challenging. We're not going to talk about those today. We're just going to talk about what is required from a municipal standpoint. And the reason why I've put this together now is because recently I was asked to present to a municipality on the benefits of belonging to a joint accessibility advisory committee, specifically with what municipal participation looks like and what pieces of the legislation can be supported through being a member of the committee. So attached to the report is a very fulsome chart with all of the legislation on it. And this particular PowerPoint is just going to address that piece that can be assisted by being a Municipal Accessibility Advisory Committee member. So the butter yellow pieces of the report, that those are the ones where legislation can be fulfilled through being a member of the AAC. The light gray ones are, in fact, pun intended, a gray area. Where consultation with the AAC isn't legislated, but it's best practice. And the white areas of the larger report aren't addressed at all in this presentation. So the first piece of the legislation is to establish and continue an accessibility advisory committee. So yes, this is fulfilled by being a member of the GCJAAC. Municipalities with a population over 10,000 are required to have an accessibility advisory committee or to participate in a joint accessibility advisory committee. The role of the committee is to advise council about the requirements and implementation of accessibility standards and advise about the preparation of accessibility reports and any other matter that the council may ask for help with relating to the accessibility legislation. So yes, joint AAC participation helps to meet that requirement. The next one is completion and submission of accessibility compliance reports. 2025 is a compliance reporting year for municipalities, so we will have to be doing this. And while it isn't legislated, the Ministry for Seniors and Accessibility encourages consultation with the AAC. So where possible, the presentation of the compliance reports to the committee will help just with involvement, nothing about us without us, and help with transparency and accountability. It's not legislated, but it's best practice. Council shall seek advice from the committee when purchasing or significantly renovating a building, structure, or premises, or part of a building, structure, or premises. This is for the publicly owned buildings. And municipal staff would then do a report to committee to seek committee's advice on the accessibility component. And so, yes, this is another requirement that is facilitated by being a member. How am I doing so far? Have I lost anybody yet? I know it's heavy stuff, so sorry about that, everybody. The council shall seek advice from the committee on the accessibility for persons with disabilities to a building, structure, or premise, or part of a building, structure, or premises when entering into a new lease. So this is if the municipality owns the property and is leasing it to a third party, or if the municipality is leasing from a third party. So this is another one. Yes, it would be met by presenting to the AAC. Develop, implement, and maintain policies governing provision of goods, services, or facilities. This is not legislated, but it's best practice to involve your AAC in reviewing policies where they pertain to persons with disabilities. Then we get into the Planning Act. There's a pretty substantial piece in the report that outlines the exact requirements from the Planning Act. But basically the overview is, it says municipalities have the ability to say when they want the Accessibility Advisory Committee's input. And in 2019, Grey County Council endorsed a resolution from this committee that the site plan applications connected to newly developed or redeveloped public spaces, municipal offices, community centers, rec centers, and sports facilities need to come to the AAC for review and comment. We're required to keep a multi-year accessibility plan that outlines strategies to prevent and remove barriers. We need to post the plan on the website. We need to review it and update it at least once every 5 years. And we need to prepare and publicly post an annual accessibility status report on the progress of the plan. So the municipalities will present to the committee for review and comment, and that will meet that obligation. In 2023, and they haven't done any follow-up since then, the Ministry of Tourism, Culture, and Sport requested municipally owned museum applicants to submit a copy of their current accessibility plan along with their applications. So this did happen, and Jill from Grey Roots presented to this committee in 2023, and we adopted, which was endorsed by council following that, the museum's multi-year accessibility plan, which is now part of the Grey County multi-year accessibility plan. We don't know if this is going to come up again, and they haven't spoken about reporting on progress, but I think we can just capture it through the Grey County multi-year accessibility plan. Municipalities must consult with their accessibility advisory committees about acquiring, designing self-service kiosks, and when constructing new service counters or replacing existing service counters. And before building or making major changes to existing recreational trails, the committee can help to determine the amenities that are needed on the trail for accessibility. Also outdoor play spaces and the design and placement of rest areas when making changes to, it's in the legislation as exterior paths of travel, but what they're saying is sidewalks. It's been really good to see that we've got lots of participation from local municipalities, bringing these reports to committee for review and comment, and the good input that they receive from this committee is well received. When constructing new or redeveloping existing outdoor play spaces, so again, playgrounds and stuff like that. Conventional transportation, bus shelters and bus stops need to be considered by the committees. And if an external party is providing the building of the bus shelter, they need to come and present to the committee beforehand so that the committee can provide their input on what would help to meet the needs of accessibility. Every municipality shall consult with its municipal accessibility advisory committee in determining the proportion of on-demand accessible taxi cabs. So not a lot of our local municipalities do licensing of taxi cabs, but these need to come to the AAC. And then this last slide is just a link to the province's suggestion. It says, consult the committee. We encourage you to consult with your Accessibility Advisory Committee about how to implement the province's accessibility standards, the preparation of your municipality's accessibility compliance reports, and any other matters where the committee's advice would be helpful. You made it through, everybody. Yay!
That was great, Kathy. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions or comments for Kathy? I see Margaret's got her hand up.
Hi, everybody. I hope you can hear me. This is my name's Margaret Nicholson, and I asked Kathy if I could sit in today. I'm from the city of St. Catharines, and I've been in this position 6 months. So you can imagine I'm doing a lot of catch up, and I just really appreciated, Kathy, how succinct that presentation was and clear. And I just want to say I'm learning a lot just watching your AAC meetings. Thank you so much for just letting me sit in and listen. Really great. Good stuff. Good
Thanks,
on you,
Margaret.
Greg County.
Well, thank you, Margaret, and congratulations on your new position.
Thank you.
And we were happy to have you today.
Oh, well, thanks very much. It was really great. Thanks.
You're welcome. Does anyone else have any questions for Kathy or comments? No? Okay, well done, Kathy.
Thank you.
We'll move on to the next item, which is an item number 4D, West Gray front counter renovations. And I will hand this over for presentation to Michelle Harris, the CAO of the municipality of West Gray.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for having me. I am delighted to be able to present this report to you for your review. It's unfortunate that we've had to bring it. We recently had a fairly hostile, aggressive member of the public come into our office. And there's some timeliness. As you can understand, our staff are fairly nervous now. There was a gun threat that was posed at the time, not an actual gun, but a gun threat. And so it forced us, sometimes bad circumstances force you to look at potential vulnerabilities. And we realized, well, I don't have photos included. There is a drawing included with our package. And when you walk into our front lobby of the municipality, the entire front area is open to the public. We have our regular counters. There are no barriers. On both the left and right side of the counter entrance, we have doors into the back administrative area, which are not locked. They do have signs that say restricted access, but there's no restriction there. So what we are proposing is putting keypads on the doors to the left and right of the entrance. Both those staff access areas have accessibility pads, so the doors automatically open with the push of a button. And with the installation of the keypad restricted access, we would still maintain those accessible accesses. Nothing would change other than there would be a restricted code, and the keypad would be accessible for any staff member that is required for it. Additionally, on the drawing, our current accessible height counter is on the right side of the counter. We are proposing making that the same height as the rest of the counter and moving the accessibility side over to the left. So we'll be lowering the counter over to the left, which provides more private access for people who need it, because right now the accessible counter is almost at the doorway. So there's no sort of separate area to conduct business. All of the areas that we are proposing reconfiguration to will have glass barriers that can open and close and provide restricted access if indeed we need to. But we believe it will make our staff feel more comfortable and just provide that barrier, which we currently don't have. And that's really the sum of it. I wish I didn't have to do this. It's the state of our world right now that you always like to think that you don't need to worry about these things, but sadly, there we are. So.
Thank you, Michelle, for bringing that. And yes, it is very sad that you have to make these changes as a direct result of a threat. And I'm sorry to hear that. But you are doing the right thing, and you're putting in place protective measures, not only for your staff, but for the general public as well.
Yeah.
You know, coming into the building. So I commend you for taking this as seriously as you have.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any comments or questions for Michelle based on what she's presented and what you received in your agenda package? No. Okay. Well, thank you, Michelle.
Thank you so much, Chair Schultz and the committee. And Kathy, thank you for your report. It was very informative, and I look forward to the fulsomeness of it at some point as well, and giving it a full review. But it was very helpful from a lower tier municipality perspective, just a reminder of what our requirements are. So thank you.
My pleasure.
Okay. So it looks like the last item on the agenda is correspondence, and that's item number 5. And 5A is the City of Owen Sound site plan approvals. And there's a number of site plan approvals on the list for correspondence. I will hand this over to Sabine, Manager of Planning and Heritage for the City of Owen Sound.
Chair Schultz, if I could, through you, Sabine is not with us at the meeting. I think she just wanted to have
Okay.
feedback, or sorry, not feedback. I think she just wanted to present the site plan approvals to the committee as correspondence, but she's not able to join us. So I think what we'll do is we'll just move that item to the next meeting.
Okay, absolutely. Oh,
Pam
hi,
is here.
Pam.
Good afternoon, everyone. In Owen Sound, our the matters of accessibility relating to site plans are dealt with through a checklist because site plan approval is delegated to staff and it has a very short window for approval. The matters of accessibility that were relevant to the consideration and approval of each of these site plans was attached. I would note that you'll see on here the Owen Sound Murray McDonald building. So it's a new storage building at our public works site. And we always tell developers we treat ourselves just like we treat you. So the rules apply equally to us. But there's a variety of different developments on there, from the TD Bank to some residential to a large new U-Haul building. So the information and site plans are there. I'm happy to take any questions if the committee has them. And I would go back and say on the Georgian Bluffs playgrounds, I'm really envious of both those designs. Well done. So.
Thank you, Pam. Does anyone have any questions or comments for Pam? I certainly looked at all the site plans, and I do not have any questions or comments to make, Pam. Thank you for bringing this to the committee. We greatly appreciate it. I'll ask one more time. Does anyone have any questions or comments for Pam? No? Okay. Thank you, Pam. We greatly appreciate it. Okay. I'll move on to the next item on the agenda, and that is other business. And I don't see any items on that agenda. The last item would be item number 7, and our next meeting date will be, wow, January 12th, 2026. Hard to believe we're that close. And I will call for an adjournment at this time. Okay. Thank you, everyone. It was great to see you. And I guess we'll see everybody in the new year. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Yep. One more meeting till spring.
Yeah. Oh,
There's optimism.
yes. Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.